Hey everybody, I'm Fred Willis. Welcome back to On the Record. I have a very special guest with me today, Sanesia Tillman. She's going to be talking to me about her sound studio and the work she does to produce great quality music for artists and singers around the country and around the world. So help me welcome, without further ado, to the show, Sanesia Blevins-Tillman.
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, it's so cool to have you on. I saw what you did, the formation of your company a few months ago, and I said, I got to talk to her about this because we live in a virtual world now. Everything, not everything, but a lot is remote. I think as much as can be remote is remote, and so I saw your company. And I saw some of the projects that you were a part of, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, that is really, really cool." And so I wanted to get to know, first of all, like where this idea even come from, how you do it, who you've worked with, because I saw some names and I was like, "Oh wow, this thing
All
isn't taking its time to grow. It's like, coming forth, with the work, which I think is amazing." But before we get
Thank
into
you.
that, I do want you to introduce yourself. Let us know who you are. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Sanesia Tillman. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I was born and raised here in the Oak Cliff area. I've always loved to sing, even from a young age. My grandmother used to take me to church with her, and I would sing in the Sunshine Band. And from there, I would sing in the youth choir and my school choirs, and I just really developed a love for singing. Um, I got my start with my company. I actually started my company last year in January. Um, and I got the idea because I was laid off during the quarantine portion of the pandemic. And I saw something where someone said that um, it's now an even playing field between the aspiring background vocalists and the veterans in the business. And I kind of used that to my advantage. I heard a lot of talk about everything going virtual. A lot of churches needed stems for their services, and I never really thought about recording from home. So I thought that was a really good idea. So I trusted the Lord and purchased my home recording equipment. And from there is where I began recording for various artists from my home.
Wow, that's so cool. So you too are a pandemic parent. I coined that phrase last year when I was writing my book, talking about the people who were birthing businesses, birthing ministries, writing books during the pandemic. And this pandemic, though it has been a disruption, I would even venture to say that it's a divine disruption. And so that's how we
Right.
got to Sanesia's Sound Studio. As you see right there, you can reach up before we're going to go through all of this at the end, but it's SanesiaTillman.com. You can meet her and learn more about all that she does there. She works at home, y'all, in the comfort of her home, and she produces world class music, world class background music, background singing. If you are a songwriter and you need somebody to lay down, what would we call that? Stems. Not only stems
Yes.
but scratch vocals that you're gonna send if you're pitching a song or
Yes.
something like that. She can do that for you there. If you're ready to record and you don't have a choir or you don't have a group, which happens a lot, she can do that for you. Also, right there from the comfort of her home. Actually, she's in that studio today. So let me go ahead and go a little further into this interview and question time. Um, what prompted you to? Well, we already got that, but you said you went out and got, recording equipment. Had you recorded before this, or was this something that you kind of learned in order to do what you do now?
Actually, I recorded in a studio years ago when I sang for a gospel group called Javon Jackson and Spiritual Attitude, and that was the start of it. And I always, well, remembered that moment, and I just loved just the recording in the studio. It's really a different feel than live, obviously, but it's something that I really I thought about once I heard that people were doing that from their home studios. So I thought that I would go out and get some equipment for myself and see where it takes me.
Wow, that's cool. So you actually you engineer those sessions as well. Where did you learn how to engineer?
YouTube University. And plus, Studio One is the equipment that I use, and
Okay, yeah,
they
yeah,
offer demos.
yeah.
So I try to study up as much as I can to learn as much as
Hmm.
I can about the process.
And the good thing about Studio One is that Studio One is very user friendly.
It is. It is.
Very user friendly. So people contact you and they let you know what you need and you do the work. You sang with J. Javon Jackson and Spiritual Attitude. That group is amazing,
Years
y'all.
ago.
Years ago, but that group they did a reunion and they were just still just as super solid as they've always been. So Sanesia, as you're hearing her talk about, she is the real deal. She has been in the mix with fantastic people, wonderfully creative people. All right, so you got Studio One. You're doing the engineering at home. You're doing the vocals. You sing alto, soprano, and tenor
I
right
do.
there at home. So when people called you, how long did it take for you to get customers? How long did that take?
Well, I started out making videos
Hmm.
to post online
Okay.
to basically put myself out there,
Oh
to
yeah,
show what
yeah.
I could do.
Hmm.
And I also created a flyer for the business. And thank God that as soon as I placed it out there, I started actually getting a few customers
Hmm.
from the flyer.
Wow.
And but yeah,
Okay. Okay. So in a way, people were actually looking for what you do, right? Would you say that?
yes,
Yeah.
that's something I really didn't know that was really in demand as much as it is. And
Hmm.
I just know that it was the leading of the Lord,
Yeah.
and I was just obedient, and thank God, some greatness came from.
I love it. I love it. You know, we got to do that. We got to step out as the Lord is leading. And I say, especially when it seems unconventional, especially when it seems crazy. That's when
Right.
the urgency is there to do it even more. And so,
Right.
as as you've already told me about, your company is blessed with consumers and I should say customers from all over the country. So, go ahead and tell me about some of the people you've worked with.
Well, from home, I was actually recently privileged with the opportunity to record vocals for John P. Key's Christmas song. It was the remake of his Christmas song, No Christmas Without You.
Oh wow.
He
Okay.
put out 16 different versions, but I was
Yes.
on one of those versions.
Okay.
I've also worked for Delaney Land from home. I've recorded over 40 songs for them.
Wow.
I've had the pleasure of working for Kirk Franklin, working with him on the song Overcome 2021.
Hmm.
And that was actually the time that I became a professional full time
Hmm.
background vocalist. That's what made me officially a professional background vocalist.
All right.
I recently recorded with Fred Hammond the song Yahweh, as well as the Sunday Morning Fred album. Um, I got to work with Kirk Franklin again on Mariah Carey's Christmas song, Fall in Love at Christmas.
Hmm.
And most recently with Nick Cannon, well, not with him, but, I was on his soundtrack for his movie,
Yeah.
Miracles Across 125th Street.
Hmm. Wow. So how did these people get in touch with you? How'd that come about?
Well, I guess my name was mentioned in the right rooms. I just got the opportunity as God's favor, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, I I got the opportunity of working with Kirk Franklin through DeMarcus Williams,
Yeah. Marcus. Okay.
and yeah, so that's basically where I got my start.
Wow. That's a small world. So
That's
many
how I
people,
got my start.
Marcus and Myron, are connecting with Kirk. And
Right.
it's cool because Kirk is back home again. And I say that all the time. I told him, Kirk had his time where he was like finding talent from everywhere else. And it was like, Kirk, Dallas Fort Worth is a hotbed for everything you need. We got it.
Right.
People are coming here.
Right.
That's how dope it is in Dallas Fort Worth. And so it's so amazing to see him working with Dallas Fort Worth talent. And I say Dallas Fort Worth because as big as our metroplex is, and even the outside cities or surrounding cities, talent is everywhere. And you see
Right.
names pop up from, and you say, where are you from? And they say something like Royce City. Or, you like,
Right.
what? And the talent is there. But it's so wonderful to see Kirk using talent from here. And
Right.
as of late, it seems like Kirk is he's kind of looking in Dallas Fort Worth for his
Right.
next level. Actually, that's where he, got his start with DFW and, of course, the choirs he worked with,
It's true.
locally. So it's
It's
good
true.
to see him back at that again and
Right. I'm
taking care of
so
everybody this
grateful.
time. Uh, absolutely. And no Christmas without you. We played that on Soul Prosper Radio. We played that during Christmas.
Oh,
Um, we
cool.
played. They only sent us. They didn't send us your version, but they sent us. Um, uh, Now he had one with the
I,
family on it. You know,
yeah.
and I was like, the family, but it wasn't the family. Uh,
Yeah, there were
he had, I think,
several
yeah,
versions.
yeah. I think we had four of them. We had his, Kimber Rail. Um, there was somebody. There were two others. Jason Nelson. We had Jason Nelson's version, and there was another that Ty Scott sent us. And so it's so amazing. All 16 versions. John B. Key does things nobody
Right,
else is even thinking
right,
about
he does.
doing. So how was
I
it
love
working
him.
with John P. Key? You work with Fred Hammond, Kirk Franklin, John P. Key. I mean, wow, that's like top tier
Yes.
stuff. But how was it working with John P. Key?
Working with Johnny P. It was really like a virtual thing. I never really like spoke to him in person, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was really, really. I don't know. What am I trying to say? Um, I mean, it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't have that much interaction. He just shot me the track to lay down vocals on, and from there we just kind of communicated back and forth until we got the product that was produced to put out
Yeah.
there.
Now John P. Key is a musician, and he thinks like a musician. He's a pastor, y'all, but he has that musician brain. And I've read on your website, you'll do the edits, and there's limitations to those edits. You got to make sure you communicate what you're looking for.
Right.
But, but I know with Pastor Key knows exactly what he wants. I mean, all of them, they know exactly
He
what
knows
they want.
exactly what he wants.
So how was there ever a time where you were like, oh my God, like was it the question I'm trying to ask was, how was he on you? Was he hard on you, or did you find yourself
He
in his good graces from the beginning?
he wasn't hard at all. He wasn't hard at all. I just thank God it was a smooth process. 'Cause like I said, he just gave me the track and he was like, just flip this, and I was like, oh
Wow.
Lord. So I just relied on the Lord for ideas of how to because he didn't want it to sound of course like the original. He wanted
Mm-hmm.
something fresh and new. So everyone who got the opportunity had the opportunity to kind of spin it in their own way. So it was a little intimidating, but praise God, it it worked out fine, and
Yeah.
he loved it. According to him, he loved it.
That's good. That's good. And I love this because I want to ask you now because you John P. Key, Fred Hammond, Kirk Franklin, Delaney Land, you are on the ground level of a transformational experience in gospel music. Todd Delaney has taken his library, his catalog, and he's opened it up to independent artists, emerging artists. He has created a production community. I would
Yes.
say a team, but he's created a production community of creatives who are from around the country who can create music, who can create tracks, who can create background vocals to support these artists that come to Delaney Land for production. And recently, he released Independence Day, and featuring some of those artists. And you said you worked on 40 tracks. My goodness, talk to me about working with and for Delaney Land.
It was really cool. I got the opportunity from working with Team BGV, um, and what am I trying to say? I got the opportunity of working with them through Team BGV, and it was really, I like to say that the process of working with Delaney Land really helped me to it really helped me even be stronger with my own company. I didn't realize that I could get a song done in one day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There were even customers that they didn't even really know how they wanted the notes to go of the song. So we had to kind of use our imagination to come up with what we thought that they wanted in a
Mm-hmm.
song. Um, it was really cool. It was very fast paced. I loved every bit of it. It was like it was like almost like it felt like almost like being at a in I guess like in the trenches or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, because it was like we really had to, get a lot of projects done at one time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. And as I said, those projects, the artist, I mean, it's like full scale production. It sounds like his group. I got a song, actually the first song from Delaney Land. I got it and I said, man, this lady sounds like she's singing one of Todd's songs. And so I went, went back and read the email, and it was one of his songs. And so I was like, these people have an opportunity to really have access to, his production suite,
Right.
his process, his musicians, all of that, and so I think this is something that we really don't see, we really don't have access to. And a lot of artists, when they are not promoting their own project, they're just kind of like in this dead space. And it's like they're not doing anything. It's like, I have a project out, you'll see them talk about it, you may hear them talk about it. They may be doing concerts or something like that, but to see him working production is like really different. It's real different. So I've got to ask
Right.
this: what was it like working with Todd Delaney and Delaney Land?
It was cool. I never worked with him one on one. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, it was through a group on Facebook called Team BGV.
Okay.
Is where I got the opportunity, and but yeah, I never really worked with Todd Delaney like one on one. I never got a chance to really meet him, but
All right. So tell me about Team BGV. How did you connect with them, and how did they end up selecting you to work with Delaney Land?
Well, I was actually doing a search online. I'm really really introverted, so during the pandemic, with everything going virtual, it was a perfect opportunity for me to connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
And I just did conducted a lot of searches on Facebook for different groups so that I can get connected and network with industry professionals. And Team
Mm-hmm.
BGV was a group that I connected with. It is a group like none other. There are people in there that have sang behind Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anybody that you can think of,
Mm-hmm.
there's someone in there that has sang behind those people. And they offer lots of opportunities for background vocalists and aspiring background vocalists as well.
Mm-hmm.
And my I got the tip about it through my mentor. Leslie Nilly is her name,
Mm-hmm.
of I Breathe Melody is her company. But she got me the tip on it, and from there I just sent in my videos to show them what I could do, and thank God I was selected.
That's really cool. And one thing that I want to bring out, because now y'all have an idea of what she does, who she worked with. Now I want to talk about Sanesia Tillman. Something that
Right.
you mentioned in your answers is something that I want to bring out about synergy, working with others, and also having your name being mentioned in rooms that your feet have never been in. I love how you also talk about your reliance on the Lord. There's a thing that happened in gospel music where not everybody. I'm gonna say I'm not questioning anybody's salvation, but it just seemed like it was cool to be secular, and I don't mean by the music, but I mean people were ashamed of being saved in the gospel industry. That's why people would go on shows and would say, yes, I cuss, not even judging that. But they were, it's like gospel people wanted to just kind of show how secular they could be, how non-gospel they could be, instead of just saying, "Yo, I'm saved. This is me. I didn't say I was perfect, but I'm saved. I love the Lord. This is how I live, and I would rather show y'all that than imperfections that nobody was asking for." And so I love that we're kind of getting back to it, to where people in gospel music are saying we love the Lord.
Yes.
We try to
Yes.
live, right. We try to do the right thing. We go to church.
Right.
We have a pastor. We have people we consult with. And what I just
Yeah.
heard you say, you even have a mentor, and that's
Yeah.
kind of something. We have a lot of rogue, artists, a lot of rogue ministers. They don't have any checks and balances. And even if
Right.
they do have checks and balances, they don't listen to them anyway. So talk to me about your
That's
mentorship, your mentorship,
yeah.
and the role of having people that you can seek out answers from, and who can pour into you. Talk about that.
Yes. Again, my mentor's name is Leslie Neely. She is amazing. She has been an amazing resource for me. Any questions I have about the industry, she is always there. Um, she has a company called I Breathe Melody, where she fosters communities for men. What I'm trying to say, for other creatives,
Mm-hmm.
and it really doesn't matter what type of creative you are. She mentors. She has a community for it. Um, and I'm sorry. What else did you just ask me about that?
Well,
I'm
I
sorry.
just want to talk about the importance of having somebody like that in your life.
It really it has been an amazing resource to me, because I really didn't know where to start with a lot of different things. She helps me not appear to be green at times. Well,
Mm-hmm.
in the past when I was green, she helped me with questions I had before I walked into the rooms, um, of big decision making. And
Mm-hmm.
um, what am I trying to say? But yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. And this is an industry where you need somebody that you can ask, especially on the fly. Hey,
Yeah.
I just got this email. How do I respond to it? Because I
Right.
can tell you, listen, you can send, there are pivotal words you never want to use in emails. You don't get the
Right.
spirit behind it. You just read it. And then there are
Right.
words that unlock things. Like, oh my God. They'll throw everything at you. Say, you can have whatever you
Right.
want. And so it's so good to have that, and even connecting with other people who do what you do. Dare I say, even better than you, who have more experience than you, and not viewing them as a threat, but
Right.
viewing them as a
Right.
community from which to draw inspiration, from which to draw information, most importantly, to help
Right.
you do this. So let me ask you this: who have you not worked with that you hope to work with, either soon or in the future?
I've always wanted to work with Myron Williams
Hmm. Okay.
and Jonathan McReynolds.
Okay.
Those are two that I've always wanted to work with. One of the things my mentor told me to do is make a list of those you want to work with, and I actually did that, and I was actually able to start checking off those that I worked with, and it was just amazing. It's something about like putting it on paper for some reason that is really I don't know. I don't know what that is, but but once I write things down, it tends to come to fruition. So yeah, those are two people that I would love to work with one day.
Well, the Bible says, "Write the vision and make it plain,
Right.
that they that see it may run." And sometimes, whether we know it or not, we're working toward those things. And especially that, again, the Christian experience, y'all. We're in gospel music, and it's so good to see. I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna keep saying it. It's so good to see Christians,
Yeah.
believers who are not ashamed of the faith and who are not
Mhm.
ashamed to operate within the realm and the bounds of the faith. And to see God work on their behalf. See God work on their behalf. You
Yes.
are a new business owner.
Yes.
You're a new business owner. You are an entrepreneur. You work at home. There are a number of other factors that I would name. I don't have to name them, but I know there are also challenges to what you do. Now, to me, it seems like you've had a very good year. You've had a blessed year. But what, if any, are the challenges that you face, and what are you doing? How are you working to overcome them?
Well, one of the challenges that I can think of right off the bat is a lot of times and as I mentioned earlier, I work with some clients that, they don't know exactly how they want their vocals to go. And it's really something, how the Lord just gives me that idea. It just pops into my mind. I listen to the music, and for some reason, I mean, some kind of way, it's like the Lord gives me exactly what they're looking for. Because even just recently, I was working on a project, and the person was like, "Oh my goodness, all the notes were there. Everything that I envisioned, you actually recorded that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's really a joy. I don't know. That's something I really love about doing this from home. It's like the Lord will just meet me halfway. Yeah. So
Well, that's cool. And I'm listen. I'm another one. I love being at home. I am a homebody. It's a shame sometimes that I have to leave the house to work, but I I have to do it. I've gotten used to the over Zoom press conferences. I was on one the other day. I still do like interviewing people. I love being, one on one. I love the back and forth. I love the in the moment answers. Especially when they have a publicist behind them saying, "Wrap it up. It's time to go," and the person is still talking. I'm like, talk away, ma'am, sir. This is worth leaving home for. Um, but I gotta ask you, do you have a plan for things opening up? Or I'm sure you travel. So what do you do in person? Do you travel to studios? Do you travel to churches to do a consultation? Do you produce vocals in the studio? Do you do that?
well, I provide vocal arranging for background vocalists, background vocals. Um, uh, as far as doing work outside of my home studio, I'm asked to go sing on various praise teams. I also do studio work. I'm called to do studio work, session work for other local artists as well. So I haven't gotten the opportunity to like tour or anything, but at least not outside of the state. But hopefully that'll be something that comes my way in the future.
I like it, and I'll say this: that there are opportunities, for what you do to tour. Like you just mentioned, things about arranging. Sometimes the vocal arranger goes on tour. Sometimes the vocal arranger is there at recordings. And they saying, the artist director is saying, "All right, get them together." It's things like that. So there are a number of opportunities for what you do. Have you connected with people doing exactly what you do to get an idea of the greater opportunities, or are you kind of looking into that as you grow?
I am currently looking into that. I have also worked with other people who do this from home,
Okay.
and even recently on a project.
Hmm.
It's called Holy Ghost. It was by Reverend. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to think of his name. Um, I forget his name. I know the song is called Holy Ghost, but
Hmm.
the soprano, I sang soprano. The alto recorded her vocals from home, and the tenor recorded his vocals from home, and they were able to put them all together. And I
Mm.
even recently, last year, worked on a project where um, on Clubhouse they held an audition
Oh yeah.
for other background vocalists who can record from home,
Hmm.
and each of us were able to work together and record several songs. But one of the songs that was released, I was featured on it, and it was by Mark Carthon, and the song is called "Trusting in You."
All right.
And it really was a fun process. We would come together virtually and have rehearsals and
Mm-hmm.
everything. We each had to sing our part individually because of the
Yeah,
lag
yeah,
time,
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
Zoom. But it really was a really cool process just to see it all come together, and work with other people who, like you said, were doing the same thing as me.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. And I'm telling you, Zoom can only do so much.
Right.
and I was in a meeting last week, and I was looking at some of the controls, and I was like, oh, I needed to push that button. I need to push that because I mean, Zoom just exploded. Everybody was like,
Right.
what can we do? What can we do? And so it was like Zoom was like, hey, this is what we do. But people didn't factor in um, the compression Zoom automatically puts on voices and things like that. And so there was a bit of a learning curve that to this day so many people like myself have not leaned into. If I'm on
Right.
Zoom, I'm just kind of like, let's get this meeting over with, okay? Um, but it's so good that the technology was there. iRig using,
Right.
iRig was another thing that I think by
Yes.
March of last year, if you didn't have one, you were without one until probably August or
Right.
September.
Right.
So Zoom and iRig, if you had those two, um,
Yeah.
you were set. You were okay. Um, you
Yeah.
know, and so this was a thing that it's so interesting to see that the Lord will give you an idea as something as the need is being created.
Right.
And so I
Right.
that's why I'm just so intrigued by this. Every time I see it, I'm like, wow. Like you can do all. I'm obviously you can do all this at home. I have a studio in my house. I got my instruments and everything. I do that, but it's just so amazing to see. And this is not new. Also, I should say, if you're not familiar with the industry, people do this all the time. They ship.
Right. And I never
They
knew that.
email. You didn't know?
You mean recording from home?
Yeah,
Yeah, I never even knew. I never even thought about it or heard about it
yeah.
until really. Yeah, I mean, I knew rappers did it and everything, but I never, saw anybody recording vocals for churches and different things like that, from home. So, yeah,
From home, yeah. If you have the space, you can do it. You don't want to get a
right.
recording with room on it. And it's like, oh, I know you recorded that at home. I hear the washing machine. It's real faint. I hear
Right.
baby crying in the background. If you
Right.
listen closely, you know, and it's the
Yeah.
craziest thing. It's the craziest thing because you really but technology is catching up. The microphones they're making now have that. There's a way you can
Right.
have what's called a gobo. You can have that in your home. They have sound reflection shields that you can do to
Yes.
do all of those kind of things. But music is created, and let's say I have an artist in L.A. I'm working on a track in New York. They'll record in L.A. They'll email me the track. It used to be
Right.
they'll record it and then they would have to ship it. We would have to wait for it to get there, but we can do it now. People are recording now remotely, and the producer
Yeah.
is on Zoom. He's on FaceTime, and the producer saying, that ain't it. Do it again. Or, hey, what's that idea? Let's
Right.
flesh that idea out. And everything is being created,
Right.
virtually. And that's where things are. So
Yeah.
this is so cool. I'm so glad you patched in
Oh,
because the
thank
opportunities
you.
were right there. And we got to talk to
Right.
Marcus about getting you to work with Myron. That shouldn't be too
Oh,
difficult. Marcus.
that would be so cool.
Marcus, all right. Sanesia says she's ready. So whatever Myron needs.
Right.
Myron is working on 1.5 million things right now. He's working on
Yeah.
chosen vessel stuff with the
Right.
International Music Department of the Church of God in Christ. He's working on everything.
Busy man.
Very busy, but he's got room though for Sanesia. So call Sanesia,
Oh,
man.
so
Call her.
sweet.
She's ready. She's ready. Um, so that's cool. As a business owner, though, because I do like to talk business. There are other things that you have to take care of, like paperwork. You know what?
Yeah.
While I'm talking about paperwork, do you ever
Okay.
you arrange all of this is work for hire, or do you go in with the singers, um, and do you go on the copyright form? Have you co-written anything, or is everything work for hire?
Not yet. Yes, everything is work for hire at the
Mm-hmm.
moment.
Mm-hmm.
As far as writing. I write songs, but the weird thing is haven't completed most of them.
Mm.
And I was talking to someone about that recently, and they were saying that maybe the person that's supposed to help you is, is supposed to be a co-writer, and there's someone
Yeah.
out there that that would help, complete them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and yeah, as far as work for hire, you mean like exactly what do you mean about work for hire? I'm
Work
sorry.
for hire. They pay you, and that's all.
Yes, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, I mean, because those arrangements sometimes they change the song so much,
Yeah,
and especially if they record and that's gonna be the version that's sang over and over again, and you did that.
yeah,
There's a space on the form where your name can go on there. So,
yeah,
I think sometimes you just got to be a little cognizant of that. Not
yeah.
like some of these producers used to do in the studio where they change a word or something and then now they a co-writer. I ain't talking about that. But I mean, if you
Yeah,
drafting certain things that were not there before they came to you, it's just something to consider. Because people trust you. You got the pedigree now, you know, and so you could do
right,
that. And all they have to say is what you did. They say Sanesia Tillman did this, and that's all.
yeah,
And it doesn't take away from the original composition or anything like that. But some things, it's business is business. We're talking
right,
about
right,
paperwork. You're a business owner, and so paperwork you got to
yeah,
do more than singing. You got to file your entity. You got to pay taxes on all that money coming in. You got to do good
right.
accounting and all of that stuff. Um, how was that? Because on the artist side, on the artistic side, I'm sure you know exactly what to do. But there's a whole other business end that you got to take care of suddenly with this. So how are you handling that?
Well, yes, I just make sure that I record everything that comes in.
Mm-hmm.
This will be my first year this year
Uh huh.
actually
Uh huh.
reporting it, because I started in January of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, yeah, like I said, I just try to keep notes of what comes in and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, I know it. It's often one of those things, and you always see actors, musicians. It's the creatives that end up, on or whatever, trying to get that stuff squared away. So we like I said, we talk about all of these things. We don't get in your business, but we do talk about
yeah,
all of these things, to kind of help our creative community know how to handle
right.
these things because there's so much more to it than just the creative part. And that's why
That's
we
right.
have people that work with us, like accountants, publicists. They handle the other side to that. And so,
Yeah.
Sanesia, listen. I've had a real good time today. I know you were
Um,
telling me you were introverted and
oh my
you were
goodness,
kind of
too hot.
quiet, but you came out of your shell. It's so good to talk about yourself. You got to get used to this. Um,
Right, right.
you got to get used to talking about yourself. These are good things
Yeah.
happening, and this is only beginning. I mean, this is year one, and you got like the trinity of gospel music royalty. I mean, gosh, so that's. I
Thank
mean,
God.
I knew about. No, I didn't know about any of those. I forgot completely about everybody you talked about. I even forgot about Delaney Land. You posted one here and there, and just hearing you talk about it today, I'm like, man, I forgot about that. But so in the
Yeah.
first year, this is incredible. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of
Thank
all
you
the
so
work you're
much.
doing. And obviously, there's so much more to come. Before I let you go, I do have to ask you about a friend of mine, great friend of the show, great personal friend. And
Okay.
I'm not sure what y'all are doing. That's why I'm asking you about it. You
Okay.
recently collaborated with Tashay Sayas. And
Right.
so
Yes.
tell me a little bit about that collaboration.
Yeah. Well, everything is still in the development phase,
Okay.
but we are
Okay.
working on some amazing things for everyone to see. Um, and hopefully we'll be able to share them with you soon.
Mm-hmm.
But just know that there are really some exciting things. But just keep your ears peeled.
All right.
Hopefully we'll let everybody know what that is.
See, I was
So
trying to get that exclusive, y'all. I was trying to get that
I know.
breaking news right here. I was going right to Facebook with it. Tashay's Vocal Lab and Sanesia's Sound Studio coming together. Just listen, we're gonna see. We're gonna see what it is. Uh,
Stay tuned.
stay tuned. That's all I got, y'all. Stay tuned. After all this time, talking about everything else. Stay tuned. That means you got to come back on. You are very
Right.
smart. That's how you invite yourself back on. Say, well, hey, when we get it done, I'll come back and talk to you about it. That's fine. We will be right here waiting to hear from you. Because as I said, I'm so excited about what you're doing. And you're from Dallas. I didn't think you
Thank
were
you.
from Dallas.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Born and
right.
raised.
I thought you were from somewhere else and just came on in.
Yeah.
But you from Dallas, from Oak Cliff, y'all. Oak
Oak
Cliff.
Cliff.
All right.
On the
All right.
playgrounds where I spent most of my days. No.
Ah! Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Coming on out of that shell. Listen, y'all. Sanesia's Sound Studio. You can book her. You can book your time. You can read about how her process works, the timing of everything, right there on SanesiaTillman.com. All your questions can be answered there. And I hope that you've enjoyed this profile today, because I really wanted to profile her and introduce her to you. There are others that do this. She is not the only one, but as you can hear, as you've heard her say, her first year was phenomenal. So so much is coming down the pipeline. So again, I want to thank you so much for your time and being on today. I'm going to let you close us
Thank you.
out as we get ready to leave. Oh, you know what? This name, I cannot talk to you and not mention the name of Willie Stewart, another
Oh
Dallas
yes.
legend, Dallas gospel music legend. You did some work with Superintendent Willie
I
Stewart.
did.
Those of you who don't know the name Willie Stewart, you know his song Fully Committed from back in the day. And so many others. We play his music on the station as well. So talk to me about what you're doing with
Yes.
Pastor Willie Stewart before I let you go.
Yes. I don't even know how I forgot to mention Pastor Willie Stewart. Um, I began working with him December, was it November or December of 2019, I believe it was.
Hmm.
But we were working on some of his past songs
Hmm.
to kind of bring them to make them more current
Yeah.
sounding. But we hadn't worked together in a minute now. But
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get back together on those things.
Okay.
But
Okay.
working with him was amazing. He was so encouraging and so patient with me because that was
Hmm.
my of course, back in the day, working with Javon, that's when I got my first opportunity to work in the studio. But
Oh yeah.
working with Willie, he really gave me pointers and everything, and really, took away a lot of that intimidation of being
Yeah.
in the studio that I
Hmm.
had. He was very knowledgeable. I mean, he had even like vocal advice and different things like that. So
Hmm.
those are things that I cherished and took with me as the Lord started elevating me and taking me, on the journey of becoming a professional background vocalist.
Hmm.
So I'm very grateful to Willie, and hopefully we can start back working soon because during the pandemic we kind of, stopped there for a while, but yeah,
Hmm.
hopefully that'll be something that we get back to.
I love it. Come on, Superintendent Stewart. Let's get this work
Yes.
finished.
Come on, come
Sanesia Sound Studio, y'all. Listen, we've been talking today, and anybody I bring on, we gonna talk. We gonna talk. We gonna
on.
talk about what they have going on, because there's so much more at the heart of what's going on than what's presented. And so that's what I like to get to. I like to get in there, get inside those layers. Let's find out who this person is. And so hopefully today you've learned about Sanesia Tillman in such a way that puts her on your mind. If you are a songwriter and you don't have the vocalist, if you're a musician and you need somebody to sing the song for you, if you are whatever, you're getting ready to pitch a song and you need to redo it. I have a song that I recorded years ago. I need to freshen it up, but I don't have those singers anymore. Who can I call? Call this young lady. And listen, connect with her. She has a wonderful process. Her turnaround time is like 3 to 5 days. Am I right?
Correct.
3 to 5 days,
Depending
y'all.
on the project.
Depending on the project. And she can get it done. She can take care of all of that for you. And I just believe that this is a great season for her. And you definitely want to connect yourself with somebody that is in a wonderful season such as this. Sanesia Tillman, thank you so much for hanging out with me
Thank you.
today on The Record.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. All right, now.